Okay, welcome back. Today we're going to be talking about how to engage investors, and this is all about real estate investor webinar mastery. Okay, in this series of videos, we're talking about how to kick butt and raise serious capital using webinars, online group presentations. And today we're taking a deep dive into step number 4 of my 6-step scalar system. And this is all about doing it in a very, very effective investor presentation via webinar. This is quite a bit different than doing one-on-one presentations, so you want to make sure that you get it right. And today we're going to go over 7 different tips and steps to make your webinars sing and make the cash register ring with capital. Stay tuned. All right, over the last few days, we've been going over my webinar scalar system. On the first video, we talked about step number 1, which is select the right topic. The next video was all about step number 2, which is the C, which is calendarize, pick the right date and the time for your webinar. Step number 3 was all about advertising, getting the word out. This is step number 4, which is actually doing the webinar presentation. We call this the L, the lecture. Now, we're not talking about a boring lecture like you remember from high school or university. We're talking about doing actually a very engaging presentation, how to hold a great presentation. So let's take a look at the first of the 7 steps, and that is to show up 5 to 10 minutes early on your Zoom call and greet, mix and mingle, meet and greet with the people, the keeners that are there early, right? So you want to be on there before the actual start time, and you want to welcome people into your Zoom room. Mix and mingle, banter, chat with people, really have that small group feel and get people feeling comfortable. Very, very important. So spend 5 to 10 minutes with that. If you want to have a little bit of fun with this, you could have some background music going. So just open up your iTunes and make sure you share your system sound on Zoom there. That way people can listen to some nice music as you're kind of bantering back and forth, and get the stage set for your actual presentation, and then start it on time when you're supposed to. All right, the second tip I'm going to give you is that you want to give people a big picture idea of what your presentation is going to be about, and you want to engage them right off the get-go. So you want to do what I call an overview and a sizzle statement, or better yet, a sizzle statement and an overview. So what is a sizzle statement? Sizzle statement is something that you say that really captures people's imagination and captures their attention, gets them engaged, gets them kind of leaning in to what you're going to be talking about. So what's an example of a sizzle statement? It might be something like this. Hey, over the next 25 minutes, I'm going to show you 5 different ways that you can make amazing profits. I'm talking double-digit returns with single-family home real estate investing in Minnesota. Something like that, right? So you create some sizzle, you create some interest, you grab their attention, all right? And then you give them the overview, okay? Here's how today's presentation is going to work. First thing is we're going to have a brief overview. That's what we're doing right now. Then we're going to do this, then we're going to do that, then we're going to do this. And we should be on the call for about 30 minutes. And then we'll open things up for Q&A, and we got some fun prizes and giveaways as well. So stay tuned, right? Something along those lines to get people engaged. All right, the next part is the actual lecture, the actual presentation in itself. So I'm going to recommend that less is more. You want to keep it short, you want to keep it tight. You don't want to have too much data, too much information. So shoot for having a 15 to 20 minute presentation, and ideally make it edutaining. What does edutaining mean? It means a little bit educational and at the same time, a little bit entertaining. How do we make things entertaining? By including lots of stories and lots of visuals. All right, the next part is how to make your presentation even more engaging. So we mentioned stories and visuals. That is super, super important. So you want to be going through a well put together, well thought out slide deck presentation that's visually appealing. And then what I want to recommend that you do, if you've got a significant amount of experience in real estate investing, actually you don't even need that much, even if you just have one deal, is to really focus on your projects, your deals, as examples and case studies as you're illustrating your points. So for example, if you were talking about the 7 or 8 different profit centers that you and your investor partners enjoy from doing long-term multifamily properties with a lift on them, then you would go through each one of the profit centers and ideally have an example from your own experience to illustrate the point. So for example, if you're talking about how you, what instant equity is, how you can buy properties on sale, then hopefully you can use an example from your own experience of you having got a deal under market value and creating that instant equity for you and your investor partners. So again, show pictures, show examples, don't get into the weeds, don't go into too much detail, but give people lots of visuals and tell stories about things, because stories are what we remember. All right, the next thing you want to make sure that you've got is a really good CTA and Q&A. What does that mean? What does CTA mean? A call to action. What does Q&A means? Questions and answers, all right? So you want to tell people exactly what they should do to get involved, to take the next step. So what I usually recommend is that you want to get people off of the group presentation and into one-on-one conversations where you can go into more detail and actually get them engaged, get them enrolled, get them signed off on an expression of interest. That's the big goal. But we can't assume that people are just going to naturally do that. So when we're doing a webinar for a client, we'll walk them through step by step exactly what to do. All right, would you like to find out how this can work for you? Great. Then here's what you need to do. Go to the website and go to the Contact Us tab. Click on the day and the time that work best for you, and then you and Joe can get together for a one-on-one conversation and see how this could work for you as well. Okay, so show them step by step. Put the link right in the chat box of Zoom so people can click right on that. Make it as easy as possible. Or if you want people to just kind of say, hey, let me know if you're interested and I'll reach out to you, they can just type in the chat box and then you can follow up with them by text message, by phone, by whatever, to get them onto that second follow-up call. But tell them exactly what you want them to do. Then the Q&A part of things, pretty simple. Open up for Q&A. I would recommend that you have a few questions already lined up to kind of prime things, get things rolling, right? So you can say, hey, feel free to open up, unmute yourself and ask your question, or if you're shy, you can type it in the question box. And then if you have a few kind of preset questions that you've already got lined up, then you can just say, okay, here's a question that somebody asked, and then you can answer that question and get the ball rolling. Does that make sense? So you want to have a good call to action and a Q&A session. Last but not least, I highly recommend for your webinars that you consider offering prizes. Right? It doesn't have to be anything crazy or extravagant. It could be a $10 gift card, a coffee card, could be a $20 Amazon gift card, whatever. Keep it simple, but make it fun. And this gets things engaging. And then don't just have it as kind of a random kind of a thing, a random type draw. Have it based on a skill testing question based on what you've been going over in your presentation. So I'd suggest sprinkling a few of these throughout your presentation. You know, maybe you're giving away 3 $10 Starbucks cards, right? Digital Starbucks cards, not a big deal, right? So go through the presentation, say, okay, let's do a quick little draw for a Starbucks card. Whoever answers this question correctly first gets the card. Whoever unmutes and answers the question first gets the card. Whatever it is, have a little bit of fun with it throughout your presentation. That's going to make it more exciting, more engaging, and it's going to keep people staying on for the entire presentation. And then also, the folks that were no-shows are going to see this on the replay, and they'll be much more likely to show up for the next live presentation, because that's the only way they can participate. All right, makes sense. Always thinking. All right, so make sure that if you want the highest impact from your webinars, to think about adding prizes as part of that, as an incentive for people. All right, so there you have it. That was step number 4 of our 6-step webinar scalar process. On our next video, we're going to go over step number 5, which is all about the E part of it, the scalar, which is engage. How to get people engaged and get them to actually start investing with you from these webinars. Now, if you're looking for a shortcut on raising a lot of private capital very quickly, go ahead, grab my book, Money Partner Formula. You can get a copy at investorattractionbook.com or click on the link in the description below. And if you'd like the infographic for this whole webinar scalar system, we've got that available for you as well. So just go check it out, how to get it in the description below. Take care. We'll talk to you on the next video.